Hey guys, this is AJ. Welcome to the School of Real Estate Investing. Guys, if you're a beginner wanting to get into real estate investing, this is for you. If you love the Lone Star State or you're wanting to move to Texas, welcome. And number three, if you're wanting practical steps that you can take to get into real estate investing, this is a place for you. All right, the topic that I am covering today is one that is a big controversial topic. Is this, should you buy houses with cash? My Dave Ramsey people raising up their hand. Should you leverage? And if you're not familiar with the word leverage, pretty much it's just borrowing money.
Loan somebody some money and they get an attitude with you when you ask for it back.
Not using your own money, right? There's a term in real estate investing, guys, that's referred to as OPM. That's other people's money, right? Whether you borrow money from a bank or whether you borrow money from individuals, OPM, you're still leveraging. And that goes to all my Grant Cardone fans, right? That'll say, oh, don't ever use your own money, right?
Baby, don't you do it. Don't do it.
Always leverage. So who's right? Who's wrong? Are my Grant Cardone people right? Are my Dave Ramsey people right? And I'm going to tell you this, guys. Everybody is wired different. I remember when I first got into real estate investing. Actually, let me rewind a little bit. Before I got into real estate investing, I started listening, and I probably listened to all the Dave Ramsey podcasts, right? Where he was saying, hey, you want to make sure you buy everything cash. Some great truth, some great wisdom. When I got into real estate investing, that's where I learned a lot more about the power of leverage, right? And that's where the concepts that Grant Cardone and a lot of the real estate investing individuals talk about. And so I was at a crossroads, right? I remember I was so focused on just wanting to pay things off cash. And I was starting to learn from different real estate investing gurus. And the thing that I took out of it was this, guys. To each their own. There are individuals that you will meet, and they are very conservative. Right? They do not want to borrow any money. They like to pay stuff cash. And then there's individuals that are just always wanting to borrow, always wanting to leverage, right? If you look at Dave Ramsey's net worth, I think he's obviously worth a couple million. Buy stuff cash. Actually, not a couple million. He's worth a lot. But when you look at Grant Cardone, he's worth a lot more than Dave Ramsey, right? And that's that he just leverages everything. So going back, which one's one or the other? Well, guys, it comes down to what is your perspective on it?
Are you comfortable?
Sure, Al.
How could you be without a backbone?
Right? If you're borrowing money just to spend money and buy nice things, well, then I'm going to really question why you're leveraging capital. Now, if you can tie your leverage to a purpose, right? As to a goal that you're trying to attain, now you're talking, right? And that's what I want to talk about right now. Is I'm not here to tell you, hey guys, paying stuff is cash. Don't do that. Guys, if you have the cash and you've worked hard and you're comfortable with that, buy stuff cash. Do what you're comfortable with. At the same time, be open to the possibility of leveraging. I remember recently I talked to a buddy of mine, and this individual, right, he's pretty well off. He's bought most of his things cash. And I recently asked him, and he's totally against borrowing money. I recently asked him because he just sold his house recently, and I asked him, I said, hey, I'm assuming you're going to buy one of your properties, your next house cash. And he paused for a moment and said, well, actually, might take out a loan. And I thought, wow, I actually never thought that this buddy of mine would ever say that, because to him, he's a diehard buy everything cash. And so the thing that I'm trying to get across is stick to what you're comfortable, but be open, right, to the possibility of leverage, because there's power in buying stuff cash, but there's also power in buying stuff when you leverage capital or with OPM. I've been in situations where I've been able to buy a property a lot cash. At the same time, too, I've been able to buy a house through OPM without using any of my money. Now, the one thing that I want to cover is, do you benefit more buying stuff cash or putting more down on a property? Or do you benefit more putting the least amount of money down? Well, let's figure it out. Say, for example, if you have an individual that's going to buy a property and that property is worth 100 grand and they have $100,000. So they buy the property, 100,000, and they start making $1,000 a month. Now, if they're making $1,000 a month, that means that at the end of the year, they would have collected $12,000. Now, let's just keep it simple. I'm not going to go into the expenses and all that you want to deduct. Let's just look at the $12,000, right? So if he put in $100,000 cash, but at the end of the year, he got $12,000, what would his return have been? Well, 12,000 out of 100,000 would be 12%. Okay. Now, let's look at another example. Let's look at the example of leveraging capital, right? Say, for example, if someone borrows 100,000, meaning that they're not using any of their money, okay? And they buy this property. And they tell the person that lend them the 100,000 that they are going to give them $5,000 every year for borrowing the 100,000, right? Or you know what? Let's say they're going to tell them, I'm going to give you $10,000. Okay. So they buy the house. It's not their money, zero money that they put out of their pocket, 100,000. And that individual renting that house is still paying them $1,000, which would be $12,000, right? Well, once he got the 12,000, he would give the 12,000, right, to the person that he borrowed the 100,000 from, and he would pocket $2,000. And like I said, I'm not going over repairs right now. I'm just using simple math to get a point across. And so he netted $2,000. Now, did he put any money down? No. So what was his return? If he put no money down and he made $2,000, that's a huge return, right? And so there's a big debate right now that individuals will say, hey, if you want to buy real estate, don't buy it cash.
The power within.
If you want to buy real estate,
The power within.
Guys, what I'm here to tell you is do what you're comfortable with. With that, also be open to the power. Because if you really look at the history of real estate investing, you have individuals that have acquired wealth through both strategies, right? And so my advice to you is this, is do what you're comfortable with and also better educate yourself. Because when you better educate yourself on the power of leverage, you therefore become more knowledgeable and therefore become someone that can bring more value to the marketplace, right? Whereas opposed to you're an individual that's just completely closed off and say, hey man, I'm totally not into the leveraging aspect of it because I just want to be debt free, nothing owned under my name. And my response to that individual would be like, okay, well, I have everything debt free. Everything is paid off. Now, the thing is, I own an LLC and I don't own the LLC. I manage the LLC, right? And the LLC that I manage has leverage $100,000. So my list as to the things that I own that are under my name are completely paid off. But the LLC that I manage has leveraged $100,000. I haven't. I manage the LLC, right? So the more you learn, right, and the more you're open to the power of leverage, guys, you're able to just bring more value to the marketplace. And so there you have it, guys. Whether you want to buy stuff cash or whether you're wanting to leverage or OPM, as people call it, guys, do what you're comfortable with. At the same time, be open to learning different ways to buy real estate in your real estate investing career. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. And as we like to say, you go out there and thrive, guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.